Drew, welcome to the Mental Breakdown.
Thank you, man. It's a
Hell
pleasure
yeah.
to be here.
Hell
Absolutely.
yeah.
Duke, 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 duke.
Salud. Let's get that Slurpee sounds in there. God damn.
Delish.
So before we get started here, tell the people your Instagram handles and what you do for the comedy and all the things
hell
that you
yeah.
do. Yeah.
Sup, gang? I'm Andrew Fahey. I run a handful of shows here in LA. Stand-up comedian and stand-up comedy shows. Every Thursday, I run a hybrid open mic / book show called Bare Knuckles Comedy, bear like the animal, at Bruise Brothers Craft Beer. Really good time, really great beer there. We have a lot of fun. I have a lot of really funny regulars. Beyond that, I also have my monthly show, Drew's Crew, that I run at the Glendale Room. That's the last Tuesday of every month. The next one is going to be October 29th.
This episode's coming out on the 28th, so
Unbelievable.
This shit's going to be out by then, so you better fucking come to that shit.
Yeah, please. It's no secret you're on the lineup.
I'm on it.
Jake's going to be there. He's going to be crewing it up. We're going to get Drew's Crucified.
Drew's Crucified. I like it.
That's my first time saying that.
Is that going to be our spooky title? Because it's on spooky season?
I think I am going to do that. Yeah, that'll be funny.
Drew's Crucified. I like it. Oh, we got to crucify Drew Bear.
No,
we have to take the bear that Angela draws and have him be crucified.
He died for our grins.
He died for our grins? Yes. Oh my god, the puns. I
love it.
That's the best.
But that's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then you and I do
Hellbent for Laughter,
of course,
yeah.
which is a heavy metal themed comedy show at Knucklehead. Do we know the frequency with which we do that? It's monthly for sure.
It's going to be monthly for sure. As far as second or third Wednesday of the month, we don't, because this next one coming up after this happened, but when this comes out, that'll already happen because it's on the 16th. I wanted to do like every second Wednesday, but they had something booked, so we'll float around. Monthly show.
Keep your ears peeled.
Yeah.
We will be doing it in November, either the second or third, somewhere in the middle there. It'll be on a Wednesday. It'll be a lot of fun.
Before Thanksgiving, hopefully not on the same day as our tentative Vegas date, which will be at a brewery,
awesome.
I think. Yeah, that'll be super fun.
I fit in nicely in those breweries. Tell you what. Every brewery I go to, people start asking me, they're just like, what's the difference between these two? And I was like, first of all, I'm not getting paid for this.
Yeah.
Second of all, this has Simcoe hops and this has Citra hops and this one has more, like, coincidentally, I know about the beer, but give me $5 anyway.
Brewery shows tend to be like, oh, there isn't even a stage. There's just a space made.
Always, 100% of the time. It's just in the back, like the beer garden outside.
I love it. It's kind of like, and that's one of my mental breakdowns is independent venues in LA goes, because it's always location.
Sure.
And you find a spot that's cool, but you're like, oh, there's no actual fucking stage here. And I'm just like, and I'm a perfectionist. I'm like, all right, we need a stage.
There's a minute, like, it should at least be like a dedicated space in some capacity, because sometimes it really is just next to the bar or something like that.
Right, yeah.
I've done a bunch of mics and shows where it's just, I arrive at the bar, I'm like, okay, this is a bar, and then the producer of the show shows up with a PA, which I guess is better than nothing.
It's better than nothing.
And then they just like move one chair and put the PA there, and they're like, all right, time for the show. And I'm like, all right, hey, time for the show.
Yeah, these business people, man, they don't throw into account that, everybody here is doing entertainment of some kind, and we need spaces to do that,
Yeah. Beggars can't be choosers, I suppose.
They can't.
And those shows have been a lot of fun, so I don't want to act too prissy about it, but it is a little frustrating.
They're fun. It just gets like, I want it to be a stage. Like, oh, it's in Hollywood. Oh, I'm going to pay fucking $15 to park.
That's what
like,
sucks.
Fuck, God.
That's what sucks is when there's like costs involved, like paying for parking, and God forbid there's a door price.
Yeah,
there's
just door price on top of that. Like, I go through the gauntlet. Like, I want to support as many shows as I want to. Like, a friend invited me to a show in Hollywood. I'm like, yeah, I'm down. Let's do it. And then it's like, oh, the fucking parking costs more than the fucking show item minimum, and it's so much. It's so much. But anyway, Drew, let's get into a mental breakdown. Would you like to share with us?
At Drew J Fahey on Instagram.
It's all in the description. It's all in there. It's all going to be in there. Everybody's
I
gonna
remember
know
that's
about
the one thing I didn't say that you specifically asked me to say.
At Drew J Fahey. Yeah.
Awesome, man. I would love to answer some of your questions, Jake. I'm excited.
Let's go, man.
To break it down.
If you want to share, when was your last mental breakdown, and how did you get through with it?
So, this, I guess this is embarrassing, but, so, in my home, I live with my girlfriend, and she's wonderful. Her name's Angela. She's a very talented artist, a very loving person. I'm very in love with her. But I struggle with feeling like I deserve stuff, or like, you know what I mean? I'm very willing to just like try to not take up space. I struggle to take up space. And so I've lived with a lot of roommates over the last few years, and I always end up just being like the weirdo who's in his room. Because like the common area, I never really like felt like I belonged there. Okay. It was never my couch, it was never my chair, it was never my TV or my PlayStation or whatever. I was always just like staying in someone else's. Despite paying the same amount in rent, it always felt like I was staying in someone else. Now I have my apartment that she and I live in, and I've gotten a lot better at like having a sense of belonging, putting up art, putting up chairs. However, I still struggle with sharing spaces in certain ways. And she's a little cluttery, you know. Okay. She'll leave her headphones, and she'll leave her like socks and dolls and whatever she has on like whatever table. And like me personally, an activity that really recharges me, I just need to sit down. I need to have my drink. Sometimes it's water, coffee, ice cold beer, something.
Oh, you're beverage goblin.
I sit there. I've got my drink. And I've got something, maybe it's a movie, maybe it's just YouTube or something, but like I really crave that a lot. And the table would get so cluttered with her stuff that I would have to like talk to her like, hey, can we do that? And finally, I just decided I'm just going to buy my own dedicated table that's just mine for my drink.
Yeah.
And I bought it, and she was so excited. She was like, oh, cool, yeah, I'm excited for you at the table. And, you know, inevitably, you know, her iPad would end up on there, and I'd move it. Or a notebook, or, you know, her weed tray because she smoked. And I would move it, and I'd be like, hey, I really need this tray. Oh, I'm so sorry. And she just wore me down. And it wasn't malicious at all. She just has ADHD probably. And eventually, I just stopped, like, bothering about it, and I would just make do. I would just put my drink where I can, whatever.
Yeah.
One day, I was working a lot at my day job. I was really stressed. Comedy is just a stressful pursuit we have. I'm going to clear my throat, sorry.
You're good.
And I'm sitting there, and she works from home, so she's sitting at her computer behind me. We live in a one-bedroom apartment, so if I have the day off and she doesn't, then I just am sitting there in her office, basically.
Okay.
And so I'm there, and I go to set my drink down, and I knock it over, and it falls all over her stuff.
Oh, shit.
Her iPad, her headphones, her fucking car insurance tags, her board. Somehow my coffee table for my stuff that I bought somehow became hers, and it got all of her stuff. And I don't know what it was that, like, she was at work, so I couldn't, like, fucking scream. I was feeling very stressed, so, like, I had the urge to, like, scream and, like, punch stuff. Not her, but, like, the walls and the fucking, like, just I wanted to throw my fucking coffee cup on the ground. But I couldn't do it because, like, I just couldn't do it. And so I literally, the only way for this energy to escape me, I literally just, like, fell to the ground and just started, like, sobbing, crying.
Oh, fuck.
Like, fucking, nose running and shit, like,
Yeah.
And she's right there. And so she's just like...
What happened?
Hey, bud. And I was like, get away from me. And she's just like, okay. And I'm like, oh.
Well, it started with the clutter, and then the spill happened on the clutter.
And then I feel guilt because it's her stuff that's getting destroyed. And so, like, I'm panicking, and I start trying to move her stuff and wipe what I can. But it's like, it's just all happening at once. And, like, you know, when you spill a big drink, the liquids, like, go
you're
crazy.
Just like, fuck.
And so, like, I can't keep up with it because there's valuable stuff there. There's, like, video game controllers and stuff, too. And it's all just happening.
Electronic devices.
And so I'm working so hard. Yeah. And, dude, I literally just, like, fall on the ground and I just start fucking sobbing. Because I'm like, I worked so fucking hard to have my own space in my own home. I bought the fucking car. And the one thing I asked for is to have my own fucking table. And it just... I guess gave up on trying to maintain it. And, and we talked about it afterwards, and everything's fine, and she understands now, and we work together to make sure that I at least have a spot for my drink.
See, men, we can cry, and we can cry it out, and we don't have to commit fucking domestic abuse that's having a...
No, and I obviously, that never even crossed my mind.
Did you clock Did you clock the shit that's banging on the walls at all?
Oh, right now? I think I heard
while
it.
you were talking, it was a few minutes ago. I'm just like, they're yelling.
Shit.
I'm like, oh, fuck.
My bad.
Yeah, listeners, watchers, can't tell from here, but like, there's a little bit of a fight going on next door.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's they're having their own mental breakdown.
Yeah.
So space is a thing
dude.
for you.
And it's also like, she's got to put her stuff somewhere. We don't have a lot of space, so I don't necessarily want to get mad at her and
You
say
share a
that
bathroom too?
Boy, do we.
Oh yeah.
And that gets tough sometimes.
It's like, oh,
too.
your stuff's all over the sink. Oh, there's beard hair all over the sink. Put the toilet seat down. Just shit like that. Yeah.
We're both pretty good about that
Yeah.
stuff, admittedly. Like, sometimes we're just so synced up that we both just need to use it at the same... Dude, there have been a few times where, like, I almost needed to piss in a fucking Gatorade bottle or something in my own home. I don't keep a lot of bottles around, so I would have had to piss in a mug. Uh-huh. And knowing my luck, it would be the mug she wanted to use that morning.
You've got the benefit of, peeing wherever,
Yeah, that's true. I have that, then,
You can kind of pee wherever. You can go outside.
Male privilege at its finest.
When my brother was living here, when I was like, you got to go. And it's like in the middle of the night, and he's in there. I would literally run outside to the dumpster and like pop a squat next to the fucking dumpster.
Oh, geez,
yeah, it's not fun. It's not fun.
I mean, what are you gonna do? Your body has, when it's that sense of urgency like that.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not gonna just shit myself in my own house.
Yeah. Oh, there's been much worse. There's been much worse.
Oh, I'm sure of it.
I've totally like shat in a grocery bag, and then just discreetly like huffed it outside and just like opened the window and like make sure.
Second level. Yeah. You should
Yeah.
just,
Wasn't
like,
fun. Wasn't fun. And
whip it at your neighbor that's arguing with each other.
I relate to you on the clutter issue because I lived with a hoarder for 4 years.
You mentioned that before.
I lived with a hoarder, and it sucked. It was like I had my own area, but to get to my own area, I had to go through and like vault over piles of clothes and like piles of just stuff. My roommate at the time would forget her 64-ounce Big Gulp thing that she would get at 7-Eleven.
Damn.
So she'd just buy another one. And this would cycle like to about, we've got a dozen fucking 64-ounce Big Gulps on the fucking dinner table. And there's no space for me to eat. And I threw like almost all of them out. And she's like, what the fuck, those were mine. I'm like, you don't need a dozen Big Gulp containers.
Yeah.
There's clothes that like that the tag is still on them. She just buys clothes. She just keeps buying fucking clothes. And like there's the clothes chair. There's like the regular, but this level of clothes chair was you couldn't see the rug. It was just getting to a fucking issue, and I like made a maze around it so she could still like, because it's not my stuff. I shouldn't, I learned that lesson. I shouldn't throw out stuff that's not mine.
I try to be careful about that myself. Like, if there's food in the fridge that I know is bad, I still won't throw it out. I'll let them know, like, hey, do you remember you have that thing in there?
Yeah.
And they'll be like, oh, that's probably bad. I'm like,
you're not going to eat that expired sandwich, are you?
Yeah, I've always tried to be careful about it.
Yeah.
Because I know I get pretty furious if people throw them. One time I brought home tacos, and I put limes and onion in the same bag just because I was in a hurry. And I put them in there. I went and used the restroom. I came back out. I got my tacos. I went for my limes and onions, and they were gone.
Why?
Because my girlfriend just didn't know that they were new. So she threw them in. I was like, what happened? She's
you can tell if they're not new.
Those look like they've been in there for a while. I was like, they were in there for less than a minute and a half, actually.
Oh, God.
And I don't know.
You guys are practically married. You've been with each other for like, what, 10 years now?
Yeah, like a little more than 10 years.
You just don't have the paperwork.
Yeah, it's true. And I'm not trying to turn this into like bitch about my fucking girlfriend hour.
Right.
Like I said, I love her a lot, but in figuring myself out and what I need to be happy and to flourish in my life, sometimes those lessons come from interacting with her, and I'm grateful to have her because I'm able to learn about myself through her, and she's understanding and patient and sympathetic.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's healthy.
A sweet rack, and she's a great artist and stuff.
Did you say sweet rack?
Yeah. Just trying to think of the other ways in which I'm grateful for.
Yeah, you just gotta think of the positive. That's good.
She won't throw her fucking water bottles away, but.
So when it came to you kind of threw yourself to the floor and you had yourself a little episode.
Sure.
And then she was like, "Oh, what's wrong?" And you talked it out. When you have things like that go down, what do you reach for? Do you reach for the music? Like, do you play something, or do you pour yourself a drink, or what are some vices that help get through like that similar kind of emotion?
recently I just reintroduced an old hobby that I never realized how much I was missing.
Mm-hmm.
I I'm a drummer. I play the drums.
Oh, nice! I didn't know that.
But when I first moved down here, and I've been living here about 10 years, I didn't bring my kit because I had nowhere to put it. You know.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And so I was just not. It was still at my parents' place, and then my parents moved, and they're all like, "We're not bringing this with us, man."
Oh no.
And so it was sold.
They sold the kit?
They did.
Shit.
And they gave me the money, and I
Okay.
guess that's a fine compromise, but I
Yeah.
still was like, I guess I'm not a drummer anymore, because, like, what's a drummer?
Cheap shit.
Yeah. But very recently, like, within the last couple of months, I had a few extra bucks, and our mutual friend, John, who's in a metal band, was very encouraging, because he saw an old video of me playing the drums, because he didn't know I played the drums either.
Oh, shit, okay.
And he, like, stopped the video, and he was like, "You're a drummer, dude." He didn't know I was talented in that way, and I was like, "Yeah." And he was just like, "No, I'm serious. Like, I'm watching you play the drums. You like have like that sense of feel. Like, you look like you." Mm-hmm. What the fuck are you doing comedy, man? You could be making money trading drums. And I was like, "I don't have a drum kit. I chose to do comedy." And he was just like, "You should get an e-kit for your apartment." And
that was going to be my next question. Like,
I
get
have
a little
one.
e-kit. Get a little tiny one. Yeah,
I have one. I got one.
You got an e-kit?
And
nice.
in the last couple months, I never realized how desperately I needed that outlet. Because I just jam the fuck out. I put my headphones in, and I just fucking smack some silicone. I got a Yamaha DTX 562.
And it's an e-kit, so you can like mess with all the different sounds.
All the knobs and whatever the fuck. I can plug my computer in and download some DAWs or whatever the fuck it's called. I can record myself if I want. I haven't reached the point where I'm recording, so I'm shaking off a lot of rust. Quite a bit has come back, I'll be honest. Like, I'm actually having a lot of fun with it again. I was getting frustrated the first few weeks because of how terribly rusty I was.
Yeah, and it's an e-kit, so it's way different from like a physical real kit.
There's some like field differences, but I'm getting used to it and I'm getting acclimated, and so that's been a really fantastic outlet for me these last couple months. Is I'll just rip on that thing, and that's a lot of fun. Before that, I also play a little guitar, but I don't play as often. I mentioned that she works from home, so I can't quite noodle on it as often as I used to be able to.
Yeah, there's like certain hours of the day.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Those are the big ones, like playing music. And then I do listen to a lot of music. Most of my music listening happens in the car when I'm driving to and from places. Occasionally, I'll be obsessed with an album to a point where I'll listen to it recreationally.
Yeah.
Most recently, when I was getting back into Mastodon, I was listening to Crack the Sky.
Crack the Sky's a great song,
that whole album was fucking awesome. And I was spinning that a lot, and like it was the first time in a while that I was just laying down, and I was just like, I kind of just want to listen to Mastodon right now.
Yeah.
Usually I'm like accompanying it with something else. But that's probably my big outlet. Otherwise, I'm trying to get back into exercising again. I know that was another thing that I...
drumming's kind of cardio.
Boy, is it.
In a way.
Yeah,
you really get into it, you're sweating a bunch.
Yeah, and those double kicks and the blasting and stuff.
Yeah, do you have the double kicks?
Boy, do I.
Oh, man.
That's the one thing I took with me from home. I carried those with me to all my different apartments. I knew I was going to end up playing again at some point. And so I always kept my iron cobras with me.
Oh, yeah,
and
that's
so
great.
The moment I got the kit, I went into my closet, I dug them out, and then, buddy, they need new beaters.
Yeah, you come home from work all stressed out, and you're like, man, I'm pissed. I got to let it out.
I've literally had to do that a few times.
Oh, that's nice.
I came home, the cat's meowing at me, and and again, I love her so much, but like, she's excited I'm home because she loves me too. And so she's just like, I talked to this customer today, and he was a little bitch, and so I told him, go fuck yourself, and I'm just like, and so I'm like, hey, I need a minute, and then I drink some water, and I just jam out, and then after a little while, I stand up, I'm like, so how was your day? Because it's all in the same room. It's so annoying. We live in such a small place, but it's what we can afford. So
is it around my size? Because this is about 650 square feet.
It actually is pretty similar, yeah. Except
similar?
Actually no, yeah, it's pretty similar.
Pretty similar?
Yeah, it's about it. Yeah. So there's two of us, and so her office would probably be in that corner, and my drum kit would probably be in that corner, and we'd probably have the TV set up here.
Yeah,
and,
the mount. Yeah.
I suppose the main area is probably bigger than your main area, but our bedroom is tiny.
Tiny, and you share it. You guys are close quarters, so it almost doesn't.
It
almost kind of makes up for it, because when my brother was here, obviously we're not sleeping in the same bed. My shit was all in this space.
Oh, that's right.
Cramped.
It was basically a 2-bedroom, but with no common area.
Kind of more like a studio with a wall.
Yeah. That's kind of how ours is, because
Yeah.
even our bedroom, the wall doesn't touch the ceiling. There's like a panel up top.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so even if I'm in the bedroom, I can't like.
So it's sold as a one bedroom, but it's really just a studio with a modified.
That's precisely.
Thing. Oh God, I looked at a place in Reseda that was kind of like that. And they're like, yeah, this is a one bedroom. Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's like why can I see the bedroom from here?
I shouldn't be able to see it if
Yeah.
the door is closed, man.
So there's not a lot of privacy, but
Yeah.
we make do.
Not a lot of space, it's better than New York. Could you imagine living in New York, sharing a loft with one other person that's already like fucking half this size?
I fantasize about it sometimes. That's the kind of lifestyle for people that are like always on the go.
Yeah.
I've tried that for myself, and I really crave my downtime. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of need like a couch and a TV or something of that nature. Because like even like when we first moved into our current place, it was in February of 2020.
Oh, right before the
So
shit hit. Oh,
we got
man.
in there and we got library cards and we got
Lucky you.
and we were like, we're gonna be these type. We didn't even have internet for a while just because we were like, we're gonna save some money so that we can pay off some bills, which was nice. During the big shutdown, so to speak.
Did you work during it, or did you get that unemployment money?
I was raking in that unemployment. Yeah, I was doing all right. Yeah. I waited tables by day, and I was doing it by then. And so when the restaurants closed down, they sent me home. I got furloughed. I was getting that paper. It was pretty sweet. Mm-hmm. And then we went back once, and we had like the face shields and the gloves and all that annoying stuff. And I had a stupid haircut at the time, just because that's one of the many ways I was mentally ill during the lockdown.
I grew my beard out.
Yeah, and so
when you met me, it was like
the
super
visor.
long. Yeah.
So I had the visor, and like my hair was like flopped over. And then we shut down again. And then I took some more time off, made even more money, which was also awesome. Mm-hmm. And then we went back, and it's like I never left.
Dude, can you believe that was nearly 5 years ago?
It fills me with horrifying dread.
Only 5 years ago.
Absolutely.
Yeah, fuck. It's almost like, and not to get in the conspiracy lane, but it kind of felt like that this is training for it to happen again in like a more severe sense.
Yikes.
I don't know if you've read into Project Bluebeam. It's a fucking whole conspiracy on a fake alien invasion. And we all get stored inside our apartments because of the fucking alien invasion.
Yikes.
And everywhere becomes a 15-minute city where, and it's already kind of happening, where you can get anything delivered to your door via Lord Bezos. And it's already kind of happened.
Yeah, no doubt.
Everything you can get it to your door. And if people are convinced that there is danger outside, and it happened kind of, nobody went outside. And it's kind of the training wheels of like, we're going to get drunk with power. And we're going to tell people to stay indoors. And this is before we knew fucking anything.
God damn.
So I feel like it's going to happen again. Which goes into my next question about pet peeves. Fucking one of mine is thinking like, we're just going to fucking trust what the government says. When there's just been like lie after lie after lie after lie that gets uncovered
over and
like
over
years
again.
later. It's a fucking nightmare. And it's made me become like politically non-binary. In a sense, I'm just like so checked out, and God bless the people that are involved in their communities and they're politically active, but at the cost of like your fucking like framework on reality.
Yeah, you got to find that right balance. You want to be informed to an extent, especially on things that are relevant to you. Mm-hmm. I've heard someone say that like it's a privilege to be completely checked out. Yeah, because you're living such a lifestyle that like no matter what happens. I mean, admittedly, it's probably a straight white person, a fella more often than not.
A fella, yeah.
That it says like, why would I care what anyone votes on? I'm gonna be fine no matter what happens.
Right? Yeah, you're gonna be fine no matter what.
So I want to look out. My girlfriend's Latina, and also a queer person. So I try to keep my eye out for things just because it's relevant. Right? It affects her and affects both of us.
Yeah,
because
I would definitely vote like because we're straight white men. We're literally not affected by fucking like anything. Abortion,
Yeah,
voting rights, we're
yeah.
good. But like our friends, our friends are the ones that we care about, and that's who we vote for.
Exactly.
What are some pet peeves of yours?
Pet peeves in general?
Yeah.
I'm sure something happened today.
No, you know, like an entitled shitty person at work.
That stuff sucks for sure.
That's a common one, you know.
Yeah, that irritates.
I can't do clanking silverware.
Like in any context?
I can't do clanking silverware.
Oh, I hope I haven't done that to you. I'm sorry.
No, you haven't. No, it's not like when it's like one or two around me, that's fine. But when it's fucking everywhere,
oh yeah,
like
that's bad.
If the restaurant's crowded, I won't go in.
Yeah, the crowded restaurants really suck.
Yeah, I don't do dinner rush. I don't fucking.
No, I don't do the dinner shift either.
Oh, if the wait's gonna be more than 20 minutes, I'm out. Nah, I'm good.
No chance.
That just means it's crowded. We're gonna be sitting next to a bunch of plebs that are just like clanking away, and I'm like, ugh. If we're gonna sit anywhere, it's gonna be an Asian place.
Yeah.
Yeah, chopsticks.
Yeah, there you go.
The fucking clanking sound.
Wood on wood.
Yeah.
Just the chopsticks. I really don't like when I have something I want to say and I can't get it. I can't get to it. Mm-hmm. Whether that be other people, interrupting or contributing their points, or just like not grasping what I'm trying to say, or like they know what they want to hear or understand, and so they just like take what I'm saying and reconstrue it to be what they want.
I see. I've
had
that happen to me a lot. You're in a circle, everybody's talking.
Yeah. And especially if it's like someone asked me something and I'm trying to answer and I can't get. I love my mom. She's fantastic. I love her dearly. She's like a saint, a queen amongst queens, a goddess. But she'll ask me a question. I'll start answering, and I try to get context. Maybe I'm a yapper. Maybe this is me because I talk too much. But I start answering, and she is immediately on to the next thing. So let's say hypothetically. Oh, so Jake, how's your job been?
My job's been good. It's been fun.
If we're gonna get to the restaurant on time, we want to make sure you wake up for parking.
Oh, shit.
How far is? No, I'm listening. You said you were talking about your day at work, right?
Yeah, I've been really stressed out lately.
Wait, so what were we thinking of having for dinner? We're gonna
Mom.
I'm listening. I'm sorry, because you said you were having a tough day at work. No, I'm just trying to make sure we have parking for when we go to dinner later.
Yeah, it's that kind of like social multitasking.
Yeah, and she means well, and she's buying me dinner, so who am I to fucking complain?
Right.
But I get real frustrated. I'm just like, do you want me to answer your question or not? Mm-hmm. And maybe it's just a pleasantry. I'm sure she does actually want to find it. And sometimes I even do get to the juicy part. And it'll be like, no kidding. Wow. Man, I can't believe that. Oh, I think I'm going to get the shrimp when I get there. Do you think this is the place that has the shrimp, right? Yeah. I'm going to get the shrimp.
I hate it when someone, you're trying to like tell a story and like nobody is fucking like chiming in. Nobody's like clocked in on you.
That's tough.
It's kind of like when you're bombing on stage. You're doing something and nobody cares. Nobody's really invested, and you're just kind of like, all right, I'll just go fuck myself then.
I've literally had to just like take a deep breath and just accept the L that I'm like that. It's like I guess I'm just not gonna get to finish the story.
Yeah. It's a nightmare.
I remembered another thing that was. Oh, I did. I remembered another pet peeve I have. It's when we make. And this is my parents again, and I love my parents a lot. When we make plans, and I'm given a time, and then the other party just decides on a different time.
Oh, fuck.
So my parents do this a lot, and they're like, hey, Andrew, so we're thinking about going to lunch tomorrow at around noon. Your grandma's going to be there. And so do you think you'll be ready to leave around 11:30? It takes like 25 minutes to get there, so we want to make sure. And I'm like, awesome, so we're going to leave at 11:30? I love it. I'm definitely down for that. And then at 10:30, I'm getting a rapping on my manger door, like, boom, boom, boom. Chamber door? Chamber door. Sorry.
Yeah. Rapping on your chamber door.
I said manger door.
I get where you're coming from, yeah.
And they're like, doing, hey, buddy, you getting ready in there? And I'm like, not quite. And they're like, okay, no, because we're thinking about leaving in about 15 minutes, so whenever you're ready. And I was like, are we not leaving at 11:30? And they're like, yeah, well, we're already ready, so we figured we would just leave, so we're going to get going.
Dude.
And I was like, dude, I have to take a shit. I have to brush my teeth.
Yeah, you have to look like a person. Yeah.
I have to sit and think about all the mistakes I've made in my life that's gotten me to this point. And I'm just like, oh, fuck, yeah, let me get ready. And they're like, yeah, we'll be in the car. And I'm like, And then I'm kind of used to it with them now, but with Angela, when I started bringing her around, she had a tough time acclimating because she has to put on her makeup and
Yeah,
she has
yeah.
to use the restroom and do her thing.
Yeah, because when a woman says 15 minutes, it means 30. You know, it's like, oh, I'll
Nah,
be outside in a
dude.
little bit. It's like, no, she's got to put her face on. She's got to do all this other shit.
Somehow my two siblings have grown up with it as well, so they're ready to just go at a moment's notice.
Mm-hmm.
And then my mom is always just the one who's just like, well, I'm going to need to go now. Can you ask them if we're ready to go now? And so Angela's just like, no, I'm not ready at all.
Mm-hmm.
And it always happens. It's reached a point where I've kind of just been like, hey, we'll meet you guys there. But then now I have the reputation of being like a bum that takes forever to get ready.
Right.
Because it's like, well, no, because we said we were leaving at 11:30.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was going about my morning as if we were leaving at 11:30. So I'm going to leave at 11:30. And they're like, okay, no, yeah, that's fine. We'll meet you guys there.
Mm-hmm.
But then they get there, and then at 11, I'm getting a phone call. Hey, buddy, you almost getting ready to leave soon? We just got to the restaurant. I'm like, yeah, we're working on it, man. And they're like, okay, yeah.
It's like
we
the
just wanna
opposite
make
of
sure.
fashionably late. Like, hey, 11:30, let's leave an hour earlier.
Yeah, like I'm fashionably on time.
Yeah,
And
yeah. I never understood why that became cool. Like, okay, like doors at 7. That means the business is open.
Right.
The show is at 7:30. 7:40, give or take. People try to park. You want to give like a 10-minute window.
Sure.
Oh, the show's starting at 8 now. What? Why am I here? You know?
Yeah, that shit sucks.
It just I am prompt. Maybe it's my theater background, but I'm a time Nazi. If you tell me that the show starts at 8, I'm gonna be there a fucking hour early so I can compose myself.
I think it's a
find
good
parking
habit,
spot.
man.
Yeah.
You know, I've developed some bad habits just because of how many times I've been burned by
Mm-hmm.
being on time. Dude, okay, we're gonna get into comedy a little bit. I'm sorry, but
Yeah, that's
like,
fine.
bucket open mics.
No
like
thanks.
I somehow am always punished for being on time because I get there. All right, my name on the ticket. Oh, is that the bucket?
Mm-hmm.
There you go. No names in the bucket. Put my name. Boom! Like it echoes
Yeah.
with landing at the bottom of the bucket with no other names.
Right.
Everyone else shows up. They throw their name in the bucket, and the host goes up and they play that little game as if they're shuffling, but they're not actually shuffling.
Yeah, the ticket at the bottom isn't going anywhere.
And they're drawing all that. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm going to be here till 2 a.m., aren't I? I should just fucking leave.
Yeah, fuck.
And then sure enough, first one in, last one out the club, I get called. All right, and close this out. It's going to be Andrew Fahey.
Fahey.
And I'm like, I don't even know if that's my name anymore. I've been here so fucking long.
Oh, god damn it.
Time no longer
Yeah, you
exists.
shouldn't be. You're the first one there and the last one out. God, that's.
And then what happens if
That's
I go
not
and
fun.
say something, right? I look like
Yeah.
a fucking weird asshole. That I'm like, hey, I got here at 7. I noticed that dude who got here a minute ago put his name in the bucket, and then the host wasn't looking and just drew the name on the top of the bucket, got to go up and then immediately leave. I'm not trying to be a dick or anything, but I've been here for 4 hours, so I was
Yeah.
hopeful maybe. And
Swirl
they're like,
the bucket.
But then,
Swirl it.
you know, you
Toss
get
it like a salad.
You get such entitled comics sometimes that the hosts become jaded, and they're like, yeah, it's a bucket, man. So if you pull your name, you know, we'll get there. Yeah, there's only like 25 names left, so you'll be all right.
Yeah, God.
I'm like, fuck, I'm leaving.
I don't do it. I'm convinced, and no names, but I'm convinced that a lot of the bucket mics in question are in fact rigged. I think they're rigged.
Some are obviously
I
rigged.
think they're very much rigged, and it's a whole gatekeeping thing, and I get that too because there's mics I go to that are just a little bit gatekeepy because we want to we're like a community and we want to keep the riffraff out. You know, just the people that suck, like, the dildo comic. We don't want the dildo comic here. I don't want the dildo comic here.
I put those days behind me, Jake. All
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
And it's just, it's a way to keep things in control, but it takes the open out of open mic.
Yeah.
It takes the openness out of it when we're just like, oh, we're doing
discouraging.
solids for other people. I'm just like, oh shit. Now I have to be friends with the door guy, not to organically be friends, but now it's because I want something from him. That's another thing
That's no
that
good.
fucking pisses. We do shows, we produce stuff. You probably get the DM on occasion where
Always.
it's like, hey, you got a spot for me? And it's like, you and 10 other people just asked me that question. I will circle back to you. And it's like, it's frustrating.
I really wish badly that I could please everybody.
Yeah, I do too.
But you just can't, especially with a fun. Because the show I run on Thursdays, the Mike/show, they want us out of there at 9:30 because the bar closes at 10.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to do last call. He wants to get drinks and mop the floor. we got to be done at 9:30.
Yeah,
And so
right out.
I do everything I can to make it so I can get up as many people as I can. We start as timely as we can, and I'm transparent about how much time people get. And I even switched over to the slotted system, just a little bit of time management, but inevitably you still get the people who
Is
message.
it not slotted anymore?
It's still slotted.
It is? Okay.
I do the slotted spots, and then I save a little time just because inevitably there's always walk-ins.
Always.
But yeah, I still get the people that are like, hey, the list was full. Can I still come? And I'm just like,
Yeah.
yeah, you can come. And they're like, great, I'm going to bring 3 friends, and they also want to go up. And I'm like,
God damn.
I'll see what I can do. And then and this is a new problem I've been having because the mic has gotten to be a little bit popular, which I'm grateful for.
That's great.
But I'll get comics who actually like are working who want to do a little extra time. Because I do have featured comics, I have book spots, and they'll be like, hey, any chance I could come do 10 minutes tonight? And I look, and technically I can make it work, and I don't want to say no to fucking, let's just say, for example, fucking, I wanted to say something funnier than Bill Burr, because that's an obvious one.
Dave Chappelle.
That was the next one I was thinking, but those are no, that's another one that's obvious. I want to say, like, fucking,
Theo Vaughn. Whitney
that would be
Cummings?
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if Theo Vaughn
Theo Von
drops it on your mic?
He's like, dude, I heard, yeah.
I heard I could get 10 minutes of
I
new
could do
stuff.
10 minutes faster than a rat in a barn. Dude.
It's not a bad Theo Vaughn impression.
And it's like, I don't want to say no because I'm like, oh, this person's work. I would like for them to see that I run a good show.
Yeah.
Just so I continue to have a positive reputation amongst my peers. It's just hard, man. I get jealous of the types of shows that can be show up, go up. Now, those ones have their downsides because by 2 a.m. everybody's ready to do harm onto
Ryan
themselves.
Tambo does like a 5-hour open mic Thursday night.
And God bless him
I don't
for
know
it.
how he does it.
You know,
Fuck, dude.
They call him Valley Jesus for a reason because
Yeah.
he is holier than thou.
He's very much so, and he's a very kind individual.
He rules.
He lets the most decrepit people go up, and I'm just like, God bless you, man.
Yeah,
Fuck.
unfortunately,
Yeah.
sometimes that comes at a cost of the
It does.
quality of that specific show,
Yep.
admittedly.
No slotted, keeps it old school. Show up, go up.
And that's great.
Real
and,
simple,
you know,
yeah.
that's how I started Bare Knuckles, and it was awesome for a while, but inevitably, you gotta get to a
And that's
point
my
where-
camera dying. That's wonderful. Yeah, so the rest of this is going to be audio.
All right.
Fuck me.
I'm gonna take my hat off, then it's hot.
Yeah, go ahead and take your hat off. Ah, shit. I swear, I know I charged the camera. I know I did. But, so for the YouTube version, I'm just going to put up the logo or something. Fuck. God
it's all
damn
good.
it.
They got a good look at us. We'll be
I
okay.
mean, it's just the whole fucking, like, trial and error of the whole thing. You know, I guess, like, it'll go on Spotify, too, but it just... See, this isn't... Here comes mental breakdown number fucking 4056. It's trying to get this stuff right, man. It's just fucking
It feels impossible, huh?
It's so hard to do because there's certain technology that I don't have, like, oh, I could plug the battery into the wall and keep it charged, and I charged it fully. The light was green when I fucking did it, and I'm like, oh, full juice. We got an hour and change. We're 40 minutes in, and the fucking thing died on me. I recorded Christina, I recorded Alex, hour and change. The camera still had 2 bars left on it. So I don't understand.
So today, for some reason,
I don't understand, and it's gonna be a fucking trial by fire that's just gonna keep fucking going on. Moving on.
Silver lining, man. They've had
Silver
enough
lining,
of me.
yeah.
They've had enough of me.
Because I'm splitting up my viewership by having audio and video.
Sure.
You know, but you know it'll work out. This is only episode 4. I had to re-record Christina because the audio fucked up.
Oh, you
The audio
mentioned
was
that.
fucked up on Alex, and I tried to save it. You know, fucking A. But goddamn it. Next question.
Sure.
Some of these experiences that you've had, and you've talked about these experiences, these frustrations, you know, especially with like jobs and stuff, and you've made jokes about it. So when you make jokes about some of these things that piss you off to no end, does it kind of feel like a blessing in disguise that you're kind of glad that the thing happened because now you've got a clever bit?
Yeah, I mean, what's the phrase? Time heals all wounds.
Yeah.
So, like, comedy is tragedy plus time, or something like that. Maybe, maybe those two are related in some weird way. Yeah, I mean, it still sucks while it happens, and I feel like maybe, it's a bit of a lemonade situation because it's like I still would not prefer to be traumatized by the wretches of society ruining my life. And yeah, I can make other people laugh at it because they can relate. But it's also like, am I happier now that I can share my plight with people, whatever it is, or would I rather just be happy?
If you're just blissfully happy, then it's like, oh, we don't have any material or adversity or anything.
But it is fun to be like a jaded, I don't trust anyone, these people are worms, horrible worms attitude. It is kind of fun to be like a fucking Bukowski type, whatever. Would I change it? No, I guess not. Life is good.
Yeah. Like, you've got that really dark joke about someone dying at the Olive Garden.
That literally happened, too.
Like, that happened.
All of those stories
real.
are true.
Yeah, that's a real experience.
Yeah, like, it's fun. My good buddy Sean Dolan, who is a partner of mine and through Bare Knuckles, we were writing jokes together. I was at his place. We were doing a little writing sesh. And when I'm writing jokes, sometimes they come to me like as a written joke, and it's fun. There's wordplay involved. And he gave me a really good piece of advice. He was just like, well, what actually happened to you? And I tell them the real story, and all the people in the room start laughing really hard, and they're like, why don't you just say it like that?
Yeah,
and I'm like, because I wrote this other joke about it, and they're like, you can fit that other joke in there, but it sounds like the joke is what happens to you for real.
Yeah.
And your real reaction to it. And I'm like, oh, shit. And so I've got like 15 minutes on material about Olive Garden. That's where I work my day. I looked at the camera out of habit.
The camera that's not even on. It's not even on anymore.
Yeah. I've got like 15 minutes on Olive Garden alone of just like wordplay jokes and set up punch jokes and some things based on real experience. And it's all well and good, and I've done them all before. I've been on theme shows where I talk about it. I just tell them. But then I sat down and I was like, well, what has actually happened to me that I can joke about? And then I remembered there was the lady who got stuck in the booth that I started telling jokes about.
Yeah.
And then there's the lady who fucking like fully died.
Yeah, fuck.
At the restaurant that one time. And I actually did start making jokes in the moment because I didn't understand how severe it was. They literally showed up with like the pulley, the trolley, whatever it's called. What's it called?
Stretcher?
Stretcher.
Yeah.
And it got really somber, and I walked up, and I was just like, someone chipped their tooth on a fucking breadstick or something.
Okay. Oh, no.
And like the dude next to me was just like, no, dude, like this is kind of crazy. She fucking died. And I was like, oh shit. And I started to feel guilt. Well, I also started to feel annoyed because I'm just like, oh, I'm sorry, I keep clicking the lid.
You're good.
I'm fidgeting. At first I felt guilt. I was like, oh, I crossed the line. But then I was just like, bro, the one time I'm trying to have a good time at work and make light of things, it's the most like, maybe the one thing with the exception of like someone getting shot and being killed is that she just died of natural causes. No, yeah, probably natural cause. I'm trying to remember. I was like, she didn't choke or anything. I think she literally just like passed away. Might have been a stroke or something.
Oh, fuck. Well, that's the comic in you, you know. You have to fucking do it to cope with the shit that's going on.
And enough time has passed that I look back on it and I'm like, damn, that shit really happened, huh?
Yeah.
And now I'm starting to tell jokes about it, and it's fun, and I'm making fun from it. And it's because like it really happened, and that's actually how I reacted. Is like I started fucking thinking of all those jokes and being like, I can't say this yet.
I had a friend whose dad died earlier this year, and I'm watching her bury her father, and it's incredibly sad. It's one of the saddest things I've ever like seen in my life. And she's a comic too, and she has this joke about looking like a gravedigger. And I'm watching her bury her dad. I just start fucking laughing. And I'm like, this is not appropriate.
She manifested it.
I checked myself. I'm like, I should not be laughing. Like, everyone around me is sad and crying, and I'm just in the back, just like, just fucking snickering to myself, going like, this is highly inappropriate. I should just remove myself from this. And I told her it was Mia. It was Mia for.
I remember you telling me about this. I picked her up.
And I told her my perspective on that when I was picking her up for Hellbent for Laughter, and she starts laughing too. And this was a week after he died.
That recently.
She started laughing too, and I'm just like, oh, okay. I don't feel bad about like feeling this way, you know, because it's so sad. But my first thought was like, oh my God, she's I'm reminded of the joke that she does, and I'm watching her fucking like bury someone.
probably
I'm like, oh my
appreciated it.
God, this is so funny. Like
Yeah.
I can't do this. I'm so weird around funerals, man. I have to make a fucking joke. When my friend's dad died a couple years ago, everyone's crying, they're sharing their stories, and I go up and I make a fucking joke. The first thing was like about his like record collection. And people like were giggling and shit. I'm like, oh, okay, this mic is
Nice.
this mic doesn't suck so much now. Like, and then it got like emotional later. I'm just like, I really do have to fucking open with a joke, no matter what I'm feeling, because it helps me like ease in.
Yeah.
To like the realness of it, you know.
You got to live your truth, and that's how you
Yeah.
process things is through humor.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to deprive myself of that because I operate similarly.
Right.
But I also don't want to rob myself of feeling my real feelings and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is a trope that like people use humor to deflect.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's
Oh,
necessarily how I always do it. I think humor actually does help me process things in a
does,
real
yeah.
way. And I just try to be mindful of the fact that I'm like, still be sad, but also be angry and also, make the jokes because it is funny. What's the phrase? Like God has a sense of humor.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's like you gotta appreciate some of the hypocrisies and ironies.
Yeah, you
and
can't help
stuff.
but do it, man. Because when my aunt got in a motorcycle accident years ago, she's fine, she's alive. Lost her leg in the accident, and I visited her at the hospital. She fucking says like, "Let's go to IHOP." I'm like, ah. Everybody's all sad for her and shit, and she wants to just fucking like say the weird thing, and people are like, no, don't say that. And it's like, no, say that shit.
When she goes swimming, she becomes Bob's.
Oh my God. I gotta tell her that. Oh man, it's too bad I don't talk to her that much. She had a call from Child Protection Services lately. God, it's a whole other fucking thing, dude. She's in custody of her son's child, and he's in jail for some shit. And
Well, I
she's
hope
a little abusive. She's not gonna watch this.
I hope she doesn't go to court because I don't think she has a leg to stand on.
Oh my God, no! You're terrible. You're just terrible.
No, I'm sorry about all that shit that's happening in your life.
Have you ever? It's fine. It's doable.
That is tragic though.
It sucks, but like you have to cope with it, man. Have you ever had a job where you quit as fast as humanly possible?
So, I quit Trader Joe's after 6 months. That's the fastest I've quit. I got fired from Flappers after a month.
You worked at Flappers?
I did. I was at Gatsby. I was working the phones.
Oh, okay.
Before it was a green room, it was like a phone room.
Oh, right, okay.
For the Yoo-hoo. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
Pre-panini.
correct.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, this would have been in like 2016 or 17.
Okay.
Something like that. And it was during the summer because it was very hot. It was the summer Pokemon Go came out, so it was 2016.
Oh, that when the timeline shifted.
Yeah. The lands between.
Mm-hmm.
But I did that for about a month, and literally it was just like cold calling numbers and giving away tickets. Mm-hmm. That was literally the whole job. And we had quotas to meet. We had to give away a certain amount of tickets. I was meeting every quota. And then Schneider called me in, and he goes like, hey, man, not enough people are coming to the shows.
And that's your fault?
And I was like, well, I'm giving the tickets away. He's like, right, but people aren't using the tickets that you're giving them. And so we have to let you go. And I was like, surely you understand how this doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah, that doesn't make a lick of sense.
But, I mean, if they're not making money, then they're not making money. So I guess from that perspective, it makes sense. It's like, they're getting the tickets, but we need them to come in and buy the chicken wings. So, we can't afford to keep you on.
Yeah, there's that whole thing that's like, okay, all right, you're giving away the ticket. The comp is there, because I see the numbers. They're like, oh, there's 38 comps. I'm like, okay, well, how many of these people are actually going to show up? It always depends on what night of the week it is. And we were talking about this earlier. Tickets are fucking $25. Parking's $10. I mean, not in the case of Flappers, but like in general. It's the ticket. It's the 2-item minimum. Oh, my God, I have kids. I need to hire a babysitter. Now we're dropping $100?
Yeah.
Okay, the tickets are free in this case. It's still going to be, it's $10, $12 for a drink. It's another $20 for like the food and all that stuff. It's a night out,
Literally.
And budgets are a little tighter, so I don't see how that makes sense how they would let you go. Because it's only in so much of your control.
Yeah.
So it's like, fuck them. Oh, you want to let me go?
It's
It's not on me,
At the time,
Did you not sound convincing enough?
I guess not.
I
Yeah,
guess
I mean,
not.
I was in a room with the others, and they all said I sounded fine. And at the time, Angela and I, my girlfriend, were long distance, and I had plans to go to her place out in Riverside. And so I was in the room with them. Schneider said, "We're gonna have to let you go." I immediately went in my car and just like drove to her place, and was just like, "Do you know the video game Undertale?"
Undertale? I know of it, yeah.
Phenomenal soundtrack, one of my favorite video game soundtracks, maybe even just my favorite collection of music in regards to like albums and stuff. I love it dearly. I just like cranked that at full volume. There's a song called Heartache. It's the boss battle with Toriel. And I was just like driving, and I was like, just really fucking pissed off because I had never been let go from a job. I had never been let go from a job in that way before, and I was really fucking mad about it and frustrated because like at the time I was still at Starbucks. And I was looking for an out because I felt very stuck there. And this felt like the out. I was like, okay, I'm going to work at the comedy club. And then I'll move up from there. Maybe I'll start hosting. Maybe I'll start doing it.
Yeah.
Obviously, that was an impossibility because they have very strict, like, no, you do not exchange, like, get paid in stage time if you're working some of these jobs there.
Right.
Because people come in with the same attitude I had of, like, yeah, I'll start at the bottom, and then before I know it, I'll be there. It'll be called Fahey's, not Flappers.
I thought the same thing.
And this isn't, anything against Flappers. They're a business. They're doing their very best for the most part. Maybe they're not doing their best in some ways, but that's neither here nor there. But I do remember feeling very defeated after that.
Yeah.
And I went back to Starbucks, and then a whole bunch of other stuff happened. I'm at Olive Garden now. The other job I quit.
Was Trader Joe's.
Trader
You were there
Joe's.
6 months? Yeah.
I was there for about 6 months. I went in because this place has a reputation for paying well, having flexible hours, having decent benefits, and for being a very chill environment. And that was the case for a long time. However, by the time I got there, they had been purchased by Aldi. So
Aldi. Oh, yeah, Aldi.
The other grocery chain.
Yeah.
And a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff had become a lot more corporate. And so it wasn't a chill market-type place anymore.
Oh, no.
It's just a grocery store.
Yeah.
But they're still riding the wave of that chill vibe that they've created for themselves. And I've worked in a supermarket before. I used to work at Safe Mart supermarkets, also known as Lucky's, also known as Albertsons, whatever. And I thought Trader Joe's would be different, but I get there and it's just the same shit all over again. It's very like rigid. It's annoying. I asked for my 10-minute break and she was like, "You gotta go stock the apples before your 10-minute break." And I was like, "Do we really think we're gonna run out of apples before I take a fucking piss?"
Yeah.
And they kept scheduling me nights, even though I made it very clear that I wasn't available to work all nights. And they're like, "Well, that's what we need you for." And I'm like, "Okay, well, I made it very clear every step of the way I need my night." 3 different conversations I had where I was like, I can give you 2, maybe 3 nights a week. I can't work 5 nights a week.
Oh, no.
And they were like, okay. And then 1 or 2 weeks, they throw me a couple morning shifts, but then inevitably it'd go right back to nights.
Were you doing comedy at the time?
Yes. This was like maybe 2 years ago. So
okay.
It was around the time that I started Bare Knuckles. And I was producing another show at the time called Splendid, which was fun. But it was my first time being part of a production team. And so I was like finding my footing with that and figuring out how to do that. And Trader Joe's was just like an obstacle every step of the way. And so I made the choice to prioritize comedy. And so I was just like, it was around Christmas time.
Yeah.
Admittedly, my grandpa was, his health was failing him at the time as well. So it was probably going to be his last Christmas. It did end up being his last Christmas.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But he's in a better place. And so I just put my 2 weeks in and they like, the management team was like shocked. They're like, "Andrew, you're like our best guy right now. You haven't even done your performance review. We were gonna," and I was like, "Yeah, no, I gotta
you weren't
go."
giving me the hours that I fucking wanted, even though you were saying like you were flexible.
And in hindsight, maybe I could have like waited for the first meeting and like said my piece and been like, "I said I can't work nights. I said I can't do this. You said I was getting a raise. We only get benefits if we work a certain number of hours." That's another thing that pissed me off is that they dangle the benefits, but then they don't schedule you the hours to get the benefits.
Oh, fuck them. Oh, that is such shit. Oh,
the discount was nice. You get 20% off, which was nice, and there's like
only 20.
It adds
for
up,
groceries.
Man.
For groceries, okay, yeah.
And the food there actually, for the most part, is pretty affordable. But I just like the writing was on the wall for me, and I was like, this isn't the same. And then I had one conversation with a manager that was very passive aggressive. He and I are like about the same age. Well, he's probably a little older than me. But he like one morning I was just like cleaning the boxes off the floor, and he comes up to me. He's just like, hey, so when we're opening in the mornings, we want to make sure that we're doing this. He like starts like trying to coach me how to do the job, and I was like, Ben. I know how to do it. I'm just doing it. I'm describing it weird, but it was like I forget exactly how it happened. To get moving on with it is he had a very like passive aggressive conversation with me, and then later that day he was like, bing bing bing, hey guys, team meeting. Gets everybody in the whole store in the back room, and he's like, hey guys, I just want to remind everyone that when we're opening and we're cleaning boxes off the floor, and when our name is Andrew, we want to make sure that we're doing it in a way that's blah blah blah. And I was like, this dickhead really called a team meeting to call me out on one fucking thing.
Oh wow.
And so it was in the moment I was like, this isn't a chill place. This place doesn't serve me.
Called out. Fuck.
So
that stinks.
I got out of there, and maybe it's my paranoia. I don't like leaving on bad terms in any capacity, so I still did the 2 weeks. I did my last 2 weeks. I loaded up on fucking discount groceries. That place also, I guess if I'm going to be grateful for that place for anything, it kind of shined a light on my lack of discipline when it came to, like, drinking.
Oh, okay.
Because the 20% discount also applied to the booze, which I wasn't used to. Other places where I've worked, the discount doesn't apply to the drinks. And so they have a pretty cool selection of like craft beer and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I was like killing 4, 5, 6 packs.
Did you
like
drink
every night.
Did you drink the simpler times?
I did. It was pretty good.
Yeah, I drank those. Yeah,
those were pretty solid, dude.
Pretty cheap too.
And they just had good craft beers. Like they had so many fucking hazy IPAs. It was so annoying. I was so sick of them by the end of my time there.
Oh.
But when I quit Trader Joe's, like I continued my drinking habit. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying I'm an alcoholic. I don't think I am one. My dad's a recovering alcoholic, but I'm not so sure that I necessarily have.
You don't black out. You don't get sloppy. No. You don't get fucking.
Well, that can be dangerous too, because I do handle it well, and so there have been times where I've been on the verge of blackout, but nobody noticed.
Huh.
And then I do start like actually getting sick, and everyone's just like, "What happened? You were fine a minute ago." I was like, "Gang, I was not fine a minute ago."
You were not fine. I was
actually spiraling. And I continued to drink for a while afterwards, and it was like affecting my quality of life in a number of ways. So I was like, okay, maybe I do need to be mindful about my booze habits.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, maybe it is good at work, because if I'm gonna pursue comedy and be surrounded by this stuff all the time,
right,
I need to know that I don't need 5 rum and cokes or whatever the fuck.
Right, yeah, it was tough for me getting back into the game when I wasn't drinking anymore, because like you get paid in the drink tickets and you're like, oh fuck, my value is a whiskey sour, my value is a $12 drink, and I can't even have it anymore just because I have no control. I've tricked my brain into thinking if I have one, I will die. I know I won't.
There's some truth in maybe not in your case specifically, but I think there's truth, because that's something I struggle with as well. Is I get the free drink ticket, I drink my drink, and after my one drink, I was just like, nah, I can have another. I buy a full price drink, I buy a third and a fourth full price drink. Mm-hmm. Before I know it, I've lost $50 on this gig where I was supposed to be making money or something like that.
Right, yeah.
And it's something that I realize I'm like, if I can't be losing money every time I do a spot.
Right, comedy.
Yeah. Because like in our current level that we are, it's like, we're getting some paid spots here and there, but we need to be like keeping some of that money.
Yeah, we need to like elevate a little bit,
Yeah, especially if we're gonna treat it like a job.
The only time I'm down to lose money is like I'm gonna pay those $20 and park at the Comedy Store. I'll fucking.
There are certain you can consider that an investment in like.
It's an investment, yeah.
Yeah, but when it's just a bar show where you get I really enjoy the deadpan mic. That venue is awesome, Fox and Hounds.
Yeah.
Erin is fantastic.
Yeah, I love her.
But that, if I'm not careful, I'll get that little discount on the drinks and the food.
The discount on the drinks,
This cheap outing of like, I'll get my one cheap drink and I'll throw her $5. I'll do 10 minutes. It'll be great.
Yeah.
Before I know it, I've had like 3 Guinnesses.
Yeah, you're in the whole $35.
3 servings of bangers. God forbid if I bring my Angela with me, because she's going to want her own plate of bangers. Suddenly I've spent $75 on this open mic that I was supposed to spend $750 and then the $5 for Aaron.
Right. Fuck.
And it's kind of like, fuck. But, like, the food and booze there is so good. And you can't go doing shit like that. And
right.
So
you can't do it all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, special occasions, sure, it's fun. But, like, for every time you go out to be spending money like that is...
especially in this town, too. It's like, fuck. Like, I gotta put my fucking tab on layaway now. Like,
yeah. Oh
like,
God, yeah.
Dude, when I was drinking, oh my God, I bought my mom a Guinness at the Good Night. This was in April.
Fun.
It was $9.
Yep.
And I'm like, fucking $9? And I'm like thinking the last time I was regularly buying Guinness was like $5.
Yeah.
Plus like a $2 tip for the bartender. I'm like, it's fucking $9?
It's reached that point,
like,
dude.
I'm like,
yeah.
shit.
That's another reason why I've backed off a lot.
Fuck.
It's unsustainable, dude.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not drinking anymore. I'm like, shit, what is this? The fucking Disneyland of drinks? Like, god damn, man.
On Thursdays at Bruce Brothers, when I'm doing my mic, you want to support the bars, so I'll have a few drinks, and it's like $25 for me every single time.
Yeah, shit.
And it's like, god damn.
You mentioned that you mentioned off mic that you're going to start dieting a little bit. So what does that mean for mics going forward? And also as the host, you're going buy beer, because you're promoting the business and like does it kind of like hinder you a little bit in terms of like trying to curb how much you take in?
I always try to be mindful that not everybody drinks, even though they're at a brewery. I try to be inclusive to the best of my ability, so I'll be like, yeah, there's beer. There's also wine. I'm grateful that Bruce Brothers Craft Beer is the name of the venue. Shout out Joey and Billy. Shout out all of them. It's an awesome establishment.
Yeah, it's a great spot.
He happens to make his own craft kombucha.
Oh,
and
shit.
so I'm able to plug that. Unfortunately, I'm just like, dude. Actually, just last night I had like a Concord grape and French vanilla kombucha.
Does that not have any alcohol in it?
I think kombucha inherently has trace amounts.
Fermented, yeah.
Correct.
It's fermented,
but
yeah.
it's not hard kombucha. It's just straight up kombucha.
Okay, I'm down. Ooh, I'm down.
Bomb.
I'm down.
It was $9 for a kombucha.
Shit.
But it's handcrafted, like it's his kombucha. I think it's called like Ferment This or something like that. He's one of those guys.
That's funny.
But I try to like do my best to be like, they also got pretzels, really good pretzels. They also have like craft sodas. They don't carry like Coca-Cola. It's all like
nice.
cane sugar sodas, or like the diet sodas have stevia in them. Mm-hmm. I try to be mindful that there's other options. But people are there for the most part because the beer is good.
Yeah.
Do I feel like me trying to cut back is causing a hindrance? I still try my best to support the bar, so I'm transparent with Joey. I'm like, I'm pacing myself now, so I'm just going to start with the kombucha. I'll usually get at least one before the end of the night, truth be told. It's my one indulgence. I'm trying to cut back everywhere else just so that I can have this one indulgence.
Yeah.
So I really don't think it's holding me back. I think, if anything, it's an exercise in having discipline and like treating this like a real job versus like a bit of a party or a hang. It is a fun hang, don't get me wrong, but it's like...
The hang is also work. It's also work. Because the way we treat it, that's what separates the men from the boys in comedy, is that the boys are just having fun and it's a hobby.
Sure.
The men, same thing, but we're also thinking of like, how can we use this to, supplement our careers?
Correct.
You gotta hang, you gotta be nice, you gotta be cool,
Sure.
You don't want to whip your dick out on the stage and cause a
please.
fucking ruckus for the sake of it.
No.
That's what gives me another fucking mental breakdown too. Is like there's a lot there's a lot of people that are just fucking god awful. And it's like we're out here trying to do something about it.
That's every scene. We all got
every
bad.
Scene, yeah.
Dude, I went out to Vegas because my parents live out there now.
Yeah.
And even their little open mic scene, there's this one character, this super old guy, and he goes up to every single table and he just starts telling his jokes to the table. He's on the mic. He's going to go on stage at some point. But he goes up, he starts doing... I brought my dad with me one time to an open mic, big mistake. And he's doing his material at us, and eventually we have to like, okay, well, thank you for your time. We'll see you up there. Every single table he touches and does his thing. He goes up on stage. He admittedly has a good set. I hate to say it. Brings me much...
Was he doing the same jokes that he was telling at the table and doing them up there?
But somehow it just hit different.
Why are we hearing it twice?
It just hit different.
Twice? That's
and
weird.
then afterwards, he goes up to every table again. He goes, "Did you catch my set? Yeah, we caught your set. How did I do? I did pretty good, right? You did great, man. Absolutely." He's like, "Yeah, I'm here every week, man. They love me here. I'm the best one here." Every single table. Eventually, the host has to go, "Dude, we all heard your set. you did good. You don't gotta ask us anymore.
Yeah.
And I've spoken to other people in that scene, and they're all like, "Oh, you spoke to Steve? Yeah, Steve. Steve's a little screwy. He, he does that." And it's just
Did you watch my set?
Did you watch my set? I saw your set, man.
Why did you talk during my set?
I was the best. I was the best one, right? I was like, normally I wouldn't give this to someone who's really annoying, but I have to give it to you. You were the best one so far.
Yeah, fuck.
I'm the best one here.
Yeah, I'm the best one.
Every scene has their character. I know our scene has no shortage of characters.
No shortage at all. Hey, we're in the big leagues, man. We're in the big leagues. That's what you got to go through. Second to last question.
Hell yeah, dude. And it's been an honor and a pleasure.
I'm having fun. I'm having fun. Sorry for the YouTube people. Oops. We'll fix that. But, remember to rate, review on Spotify. Helps the algorithm out. Download the show. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the Patreon for early access, that sort of thing. It is a trial by fire, so I do apologize that you don't get to see our pretty faces.
They cut enough of us up top.
Yeah, it happens. But, we're learning. It's only episode 4. But have you ever been on a date so bad that you had a mental breakdown?
Dude, yes. So, I forget her name now. But,
good.
She was... So, I went to this party one time, and nice young lady there. She's quite cute. I wasn't even, actively trying to, flirt with her or hit on her. I was just having a nice time at the party with my other friends. But we're talking, we're having fun. Eventually, we're just at the point where she's like, "Hey, I have to leave." Other people are like, "Oh, how are you getting home?" She's like, "Oh, I'm just going to walk." And they're like, "How far do you live?" And she's like, "It's like a 15, 20-minute walk." This is in Monterey, California, which is beautiful and lovely and temperate and nice, but it's like pitch black. It's like 11 p.m., 12 p.m. or something, or midnight, whatever. And it's a far walk. And this is in outside of CSUMB, the college that's out there. And it's in an area where there's mostly campuses, but also a lot of nothing. It's off of Lighthouse Avenue on Highway 1. And so there's a lot of dead space. A lot of walking by yourself to nothing. And I'm like, there could be coyotes, there could be animals. You don't really have to worry about people as much in that area, but you do have to worry about the wildlife a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, should we walk her home? And there are other people. I think everybody thinks that I'm trying to hit on her. And so they're all like, oh, why don't you walk her home? And I'm just like, I mean, I will, but shouldn't we all walk her home?
Yeah, buddy system.
And so I start walking her home. And we're talking, we're still having fun, we're being pleasant. And I get to her house, and I'm like, "Hey, well, it was great meeting you, thank you." I give her a hug. I turn and walk away, and she's like, "Hey," and I'm like, "What's up?" And she's like, "You don't want my number or anything?" And I was like, "Oh, no shit." And I was like, "Oh, sorry, I'm tired, I guess." Yeah, why don't I get your number? And she was cute, so I wasn't doing it as a pity thing. I'm kind of like, "Oh, no shit, I guess this is how it's done."
No, she gave you the eyes.
And so... we set up a date, and this specific thing is what I laugh about in hindsight. The date was overall kind of lame. We just couldn't quite get to do the thing that we wanted to do. The restaurant we went to was supposed to be having discount tacos, but it was only in the bar, and the bar was full, so we had to sit inside. And we're trying not to talk about stuff, but we're just not vibing, and it is what it is. But the part that I laugh about when I think about it, so... On the way into the main area of Monterey, there's a big tunnel. I always hold my breath in the tunnel.
Of course you hold. Do you make a wish too?
Or I make a wish.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I hold my breath so I can make a wish. So I've been living. I grew up in that area, and it was before I left. So I still was of the impression that everybody knew this. And so I'm driving us. And we're talking a little bit, but we reach a bit of a lull, and we're approaching the tunnel. And so I think, okay, I don't say anything. I just go, we're both going to know to do it. I go, and we're in the tunnel. I'm holding my breath. And then she goes so do you have any childhood memories that you really
God, she didn't do
think about?
it.
Not only did she not do it, she starts talking to me.
Oh, no.
And I'm kind of it puts me in the position where I'm like, do I commit to the bit and stay holding my breath?
You have to commit to the bit.
Or do I give up? But and this is a real I'm like, I really want that wish though.
Yeah, that's the thing is that what's like the punishment?
Yeah,
you know? I never thought of it that way. Like, what happens when you don't do that?
Yeah, does someone get to do a wish against you? Do you lose a wish?
Do you lose a wish? Do you get bad luck? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I never think about the consequences.
And so I'm on breath, and I'm just like, and I'm convincing myself like this will be funny when we get to the end of the tunnel because I'm gonna exhale all out. And I was like, you didn't hold your breath. But then she's like asking me, and she's like getting irritated, like while we're in the tunnel, like quickly.
You're like, she thinks you're ignoring her.
And she's like, are you okay? And I'm like I have my cheeks puffed out all crazy, like lean, really hamming it up. And I'm like, and she's like, did something happen in your child? Or do you not want to talk about it? Or?
Oh, no.
And finally we get to the end of the tunnel, and I give a big exaggerated like, what were you doing? You didn't hold your breath. And she was just like, is that what you were doing? And I was like, yeah, you didn't get a wish. You're not going to get your wish. She was like,
she has no idea what you're talking about.
Well, what did you wish for? And I'm like, come on. I can't.
You can't tell. Yeah.
And she was like, and I was like, shit, this sucks.
She doesn't have an imagination. This isn't going to work out.
Yeah, it was never going to work out. She was cute.
That stinks. She probably listens to Nickelback, too. Regularly. Unironically.
Maybe.
I
really wish I could remember.
She listens to girly pop.
Who
That
knows
stinks
about
that she didn't get... Did she grow up there, too?
I don't think so.
That might have been it.
I'm pretty sure that ended up being why.
Because if you grow up in a place that's around tunnels, like I would go to Malibu with my mom and my brother, and we would go through tunnels, and she'd go like, "You got to make a wish." Like,
yeah.
We were little kids. That's like the thing. That's the
Yeah.
thing you do.
Thinking about it, she was attending the school, Cal State Monterey Bay, so she was probably from elsewhere and like attending. Because that's how I met her, was a party near the school.
Didn't know the local legend of holding your breath in the tunnel, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stinks.
And so that date, and nothing against her, sometimes things just don't work out. But that was probably the worst date I've been on.
It's so fucked up. She just didn't get the... Yeah, it stinks, man.
And the rest of the date sucks, too. I'm not trying to be like, that was the killer, that was the knife. Because we both, she continued to try. And we just weren't clicking. And
Damn.
Yeah.
That stinks.
All good.
That stinks. This is why I've been single for 10 years. I don't fuck with that anymore. I just don't. I don't. I've been on enough bad dates where I'm just like, you know what? I can trust you about as far as I can throw you. You were a half hour late to when you said we were going to meet up. Like, no.
That shit sucks.
I'm out. I'm out.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, why can't we just... Like, why can't we be chill about that? I'm like, no, we agreed to be here at this time, at this place, and it took you 40 minutes. I was waiting. Don't make me wait.
And when it comes to dating, dating is like a job interview for relationships, because it's like, here's what I have to offer, here's what's important to me.
Yeah.
And you're establishing right away, it's like, well, timeliness and being honest and genuine with me is important to me.
Yeah.
So if you tell me you're going to be here at 2 and you get here at 2:30, you lied to me. I think there's...
Yeah, well, it's more... I don't see it as a lie. I see it as I don't give a shit about you because this makes the date not important because you weren't prompt.
Yeah.
That means you don't care. That's what it means to me.
Valid.
When you're hella late to shit, it means that you don't care as much as I do. And you're only as good as your word.
Super valid.
That sets me the fuck off. And it's just rampant here. Not even just with like dating. And unless it's communicated clearly, hey, there's traffic, I'm going to be late. Unless it's communicated, then all is forgiven. It is all fine, If it's like, oh, sorry, I'm an hour and a half late to like the mic or whatever. I'm like, oh, then you don't respect the space. You don't respect that what we're trying to do here is art.
Right.
And just like that alone makes me just fucking fizz out, and I can't stand it. Last question, and we're gonna fucking wrap this up. This is gonna be fun.
This has been awesome. Thank you for having me, dude.
Thank you, dude. We're gonna go in a little bit of a political direction here because the world's on fire. Is catching up with the news difficult to digest, and does that give you a mental breakdown?
Yeah, dude. It
seems like an obvious question.
It's so disheartening sometimes seeing some of the shit that's going on, and right now it feels, maybe I'm in a bubble because I get a lot of my news from the front page of Reddit and stuff. And, if that resource was correct, then Bernie Sanders would be president and we'd all have Medicare for all and shit.
Yeah.
And we super don't, clearly. It seems like we're on an upswing right now. People seem excited about Kamala and stuff. And it feels kind of nice I don't know. Like, I'm still kind of like weirded out that like, didn't we hate her last time?
Yeah, we hated the shit out of her last time.
Last time,
yeah.
we were all in on Bernie, and so anybody who wasn't
Right.
Bernie, we were
anybody
all
who wasn't
like,
Bernie, like you were Bernie, bro, in 2016.
He is the person I wanted most out of
Yeah,
anyone.
I wanted him to. I wanted him to.
Yeah. And now we're like being given her and as if she's like the savior, and it's just like, well, all that shit we were talking last time is still true.
That's still there.
She's still a
like,
weird cop lady.
Yeah,
who,
she's a weird cop lady
did
that
all
locked
this other
people
stuff.
up and all that. Like nobody's perfect, you know. But that's the
perfect.
way of politics goes. Is that we're voting for the lesser evil, and the people who are very informed are very much not very sane. You know,
no, not in the slightest.
I'm constantly trying to find the middle ground, and I've talked about this on previous episodes. I want to find the middle ground because I want to know about the stuff that's going on. I want to know about the local shit because that's what directs us effectively. That's what affects us directly. I know what I said.
I love it.
Are you dyslexic? Am one I? We need to know what Prop 33. Voting on that's really important because that will determine whether or not the rent hikes are going to fucking continue.
Oh no.
So
shit.
there's like stuff that we need to know about. And my mom hadn't before 2016. My mom hadn't voted since McGovern and Nixon.
Oh, wow.
She hadn't voted for decades. Because she was like, yeah, this country's fucked. We're all fucked. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It feels like that sometimes.
It feels like it doesn't matter sometimes. But like it does.
It does.
It does. And when we're trying to you have your single issue candidates, people vote on the one thing and it just makes you fucking frustrated because then you vote for that person and then it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck.
False promises and
Yeah,
stuff.
it happens literally all the fucking times. Like, oh, we're not gonna. Kamala said something about because she was like writing she was taking a page from Team Trump, going, "We're not gonna tax the tips for our workers. That's us. That's you and me." I'm like, I am agreeing with that 100%. But you can do it now.
Yeah.
You can do it now.
You're currently in there, aren't you?
You're currently the co-pilot of the plane. You can do it now.
That's a great point.
Are you saying the shit? Yeah, she's busy. She's campaigning and all that. But like half the shit she's saying, like, you can do it now. I'm like, fuck. It's so much to me, dude. And when I want to get informed, and I talk to my mom about it, I talk to other people about it, we get emotionally charged when we start to disagree, and then people get violent.
Yeah.
It gets so ugly to the point where people like have lost friendships over it.
Family members too, man.
Family
like,
members,
people
yeah.
just get cut off. Yeah.
It's huge, and I've cut a few people out of my life, because of that. Like I wish it weren't that way, but it's just like, oh, we're gonna vote for a game show host that tried to fucking start a coup, and you're still gonna vote for the guy. It's like, fuck, dude.
I have some old friends from back home who have been through a lot, and I feel for them, but this is where they ended up in their posts and stuff about Trump and being pro-Trump. And like the comments are filled with other people who are just like, bro, finally someone's saying it, me too. And it fills me with such dread because I'm like, dude, like, I guess you don't know a person that this was in them. It doesn't take a lot, like a couple breakups, a couple lost jobs, who knows what else. And then suddenly, they're on board with some of this.
They're on board with like Vermin Supreme.
Horrible stuff. Yeah, and it's just like, dude, I've had to, cut off is a hard word.
Or just talk less to.
I just like unfriended him on fucking Facebook.
Yeah.
But it really it fills me with dread sometimes seeing like how horrible some people can be and what they can choose to support for such benign reasons.
Yeah, and I have friends that are Trump supporters and all that. Like we're still friends, and like we can kind of like I'll give brownie points where brownie points are due. But when it's the talk of like the extreme stuff, that's where I'm trying so fucking hard, and I'm just like, God damn it, man. Yeah. We're supposed to like agree to disagree at the least. But then it's like, if you don't think how I think, we are enemies. It's like, dude, it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way.
Man,
yeah,
it shouldn't be that way. And unfortunately, there are some points where it's like, well, we can't agree to disagree because what you're agreeing on is that black people don't deserve rights.
Right. Yeah.
And
That's another one too.
I don't know.
Like,
They're like, we'll agree to disagree, and I'm like, I don't know about that, man.
yeah, I don't know about that one. Yeah.
I'm generalizing and I'm exaggerating, maybe, or maybe I'm not. I don't know.
Yeah. The fucking KKK, they're voting Trump.
That's the truth, man.
They're going for it,
Yeah,
and I'm just like, hey, bud, like, hey, did you know that extremist religious groups like go kind of like they're kind of everywhere, you know,
Yeah.
no matter where you look. These are the same people like, oh, the Muslims are bad. I'm like, well, you like Jesus, and yet you're saying all this other shit. It's like, fuck you, bud. Like, God. I hate to end it on a sour note.
No, you're okay.
But that was the last quick.
Yeah, you're good, man.
Because it's a particularly frustrating question. That's the theme of the show. You know,
that's true.
It's the mental breakdown, and it's not only, you know, I'm getting in your head, and I'm getting in like how are the wheels turning? Like what makes us who we are? What makes us deal with the things that we deal with? And this is the kind of shit that, you know, we sit here for an hour and change, and we can't always get to know each other at shows. You know, because it's always a big hang, and there's always these other people.
Dude.
And we don't always get the chance to really get to know someone. And like, we're friends. I've known you for a couple of years.
Oh, yeah.
And this is actually your second appearance at my house on a completely different podcast. So,
yeah, I love
you
it.
know,
It's, you know, you've set it up in such a nice way too. It's like a whole different place.
there's like a whole level of trust here, and like there's a bunch of people that want to come on, and it's like, yeah, but I don't want to trust you in my house. I need to trust you in my home first.
Yeah.
Yeah, before like I fucking like have you over and like fucking, you know, talk about, like, I have to kind of know you already. Like,
Right.
Like I know Christina, but we haven't really chatted really, and we got along really well. And
she's awesome.
yeah, she's a wonderful person, and I'm happy that I view her. I almost view her as a sister because our names are dangerously close. Her last name is DiBiase.
That's right.
And my last name's Bassi. So I automatically, like, I see her as, like, like, oh, we're practically related.
She also has red hair, right?
Very red hair.
Oh, look at that.
Red hair, ginger, Italian. I'm like, when I met her, I was like, what's your dad's name?
I was gonna say, wow.
Like, I have questions.
about
Many
cut-
questions.
Yeah, talk about cut from the same cloth. That's
Yeah,
funny.
I know, for real.
Yeah.
Because I remember looking at her, I'm like, oh, she's kind of cute. Oh, fuck, her last name's really close to mine. Okay, walking that back. And then I meet her in person, I'm like looking for my dad. I'm like, hey, is your dad's name Frank by chance? She goes, no. I'm like, oh, thank God.
You're like, all right.
All right, we're cleared the air on there. We can be friends now. All right, well, I don't have to like fucking avoid you
really
just out
funny.
of principle. But I'm glad we had this episode. This has been a great episode. Again, sorry for the fucking audio. Sorry for the video people.
We're living
audio
and learning.
people. We're living and learning. Live and learn. Yeah. Tell us one more time your Instagram handles, the stuff you're doing right now.
It's all down below, but on Instagram, I'm at Drew J. Fahey. Bare Knuckles Comedy is on Instagram as well. It's a really fun show.
Mm-hmm. Hell Bent for Laughter is down there too.
Hell Bent for Laughter is a lot of fun too. And
Drew's Crew.
I'm out there,
coming
man.
out.
Drew's Crew, absolutely. We're at the Glendale Room every month. We're grinding, dude. I'm at the Hollywood Comedy a lot. We both host
there, yeah.
So
get that
come
bread.
through. There's no shortage of opportunities to come hang and watch some comedy and listen and stuff. And it's an honor and a pleasure. Thank you for having me. This has been great. And do you have like a catchphrase or anything? For the mental
and that's
breakdown?
been the mental breakdown of Drew Fahey. Okay, thanks. Die.